Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Placerville City Council. Will everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, and welcome back. I think I shook everyone's hand because I was like, it's been a month. I feel like I haven't seen anybody for a long time, and reintroduced myself. But we are back in business. All right. We will go ahead and do roll call, please.
Councilmember Clarici?
Here.
Councilmember Gottberg?
Here.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Here.
Vice Mayor No?
Here.
Mayor Saragosa?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along to ceremonial matters on item 3.1, which is the State of the City address. And I will be brief. I know nobody wants to hear us drone on for hours about what we already did. So I just want to take a couple of moments to, one, really is just to thank staff for all of the hard work that they do every single day on behalf of our residents and our businesses and our guests that come to the city of Placerville every day. I always say we're the mighty, small but mighty, and I think we are. We do a lot more than cities our size generally do, and so I do want to thank staff for all the work they continue to do each and every single day. For myself, this is again always a privilege to serve as mayor. This is my second go around as mayor. The first time I can say it kind of sucked because it was 2020, right in the height of the pandemic. So it wasn't all the things you get used to do, like ribbon cuttings and going to things and talking to kids and, whatever, like all those small things that you would normally do as a mayor and going out to talk to people, none of that happened. So this year was a lot different in that sense, and we got a chance to get things back to normal again. So I'm really happy for that. And I also want to thank Vice Mayor No, especially for stepping in for me on a couple of things the last couple of months where I've dealt with a sick mom. So I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles. So thank you for filling in on things for me while I wasn't there. And again, in a lot of cities I have the opportunity and the privilege to work with a lot of cities in my day job, and I can tell you, most cities don't operate as smoothly as the city of Placerville. I'm not trying to pat ourselves in the back, but sometimes there's a lot of dysfunctions on city councils, and none of us here agree on everything. We have our moments where there's 5-0 votes, but there's 3-2 votes, and there's 4-1 votes, and lots of things in between. But everyone gets along, and I've always thought that's the great thing about the city of Placerville is even if you disagree on things, and you might vehemently disagree with somebody, there's always been a collegial atmosphere with city council. So I want to thank my colleagues for that as well, because we can have a fight or whatever, but we can go out and have a drink afterwards, and everyone gets along. And I think that's a great testament to the just the history of the city council and the ability to try to do what's best for the citizens here. So a couple of things I just wanted to highlight. First and foremost for me was really taking care of the homeless encampment up on Upper Broadway. I thought that was a huge lift for us this past year. It was one of the things I know all of us wanted to work on, both for getting people off the streets, as well as for really trying to get that part of the city of Placerville back to a place where people felt proud to call it within the city, and to be able to have more investment and opportunities in that area. And so I'm hopeful for what the future holds in that area, and I think that was a big lift. We knew that it wouldn't solve homelessness in Placerville when we opened up the center with the county, but I do think for the city, and that was one thing we held out for, was that if it was going to happen, we had to have that encampment removed. And so I'm glad we were able to do that and make things a little bit better in that part of town. couple of other things I wanted to highlight. These are things that are ongoing. We have our pickleball courts that are finally coming. So Terry, thank you for all the hard work on that. And everybody else that's worked on that. It'll be here soon. I think we didn't quite beat the weather, but it will be here for next year. And I think this is going to be a great success for the city. Another thing that I wanted to highlight was the $15 million state grant that we received for Placerville Drive. It's a huge investment, and that was a competitive grant that we went up against the entire state of California in terms of all different cities and municipalities. So Rebecca Neves, our engineer, was a big part of that. So I want to thank her for all the work on it. And, that's going to be a huge game changer for Placerville Drive as we really look to see what we can do in that area and how, new investments may be able to come into Placerville Drive. So just a couple of things I wanted to highlight for the year. Also wanted to highlight, some of the new equipment we were able to get for the police department, the ATVs that we can go out and patrol on our trails, just to do a little bit more proactive policing in those spots. So little things, big things, but all of them add up to hopefully a better, safer, and a place that we all like to call home in the city of Placerville. So again, thank you, everybody. Again, it's been my privilege to be mayor for the year, and I'm looking forward to 2024. So thanks. All right. I guess I have to open up 3.1 to any public comments on item 3.1. All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close 3.1. And we'll move to item 3.2, which is a motion for the city council to adjourn the meeting sine die and appoint the city manager as a temporary chairperson. So
You have to make a motion.
I believe we do.
I will move that motion.
I will second. No, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, then the mic is the city manager's.
All right. Thanks, Mayor and Council, and first Mayor Zaragoza. Thank you. It's been a great year serving with you, and appreciate all that you've done. So at this time, in accordance with the agenda, I will open up nominations for the position of mayor on the city council.
I'd like to make a motion for Jackie No to be mayor.
I'll second.
Have a motion and second. Are there any other nominations or? Okay, if not, let's do a roll call vote, please, Regina.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Councilmember Gottberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
Mayor Zaragoza?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor No.
Okay.
That's right.
Oh, good luck with those.
Here, I can do this at least. Yeah, that's right.
I think we're okay because it doesn't matter with the podium anymore.
That's true. That is true.
Okay, so we'll move to 3.3. The mayor calls for nominations for vice mayor.
I'd like to nominate John Clarici as vice mayor.
Second.
Any other nominations? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Councilmember Gottberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza?
Aye.
And Mayor No?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move to number 4, closed session reports. City Attorney Ibrahimi.
She has stepped out for a minute to look at something, but in closed session, the council provided direction to staff. No other action was taken.
Okay, thank you. Move to number 5, adoption of the agenda. Do you have a motion?
I'll move the agenda. A second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Councilmember Gottberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Wait, I messed that up
It's okay.
already. No. Vice Mayor Clarici. My apologies.
Aye.
I never get this right. Councilmember Gottberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough.
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Aye.
Mayor, no.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bring us to 6.1, announcements and presentations to the public, brief comments by the city council, and we will start with Councilmember Gottberg.
I have none tonight.
Councilmember Clarici.
I just want to say that I'm very pleased with our Christmas tree. It stayed up a lot longer than even I thought it would be up there. But the city came together and we got a Christmas tree up, and I think we found a new home for our Christmas tree. It looked great. Thanks to everybody that made it happen, city staff, the people that provided the tree, the people that set it up and decorated, the whole bit.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Same thing, actually. I'm, I thought it was great where I wasn't sure how the tree was going to be, and I also didn't want to mess up, loading and unloading for folks. But it seems like it was a good, happy medium for everybody, and it looked great. So I've gotten lots of compliments from residents about it, and they think they liked it. So I'm happy to have it, and it even felt like a more homey there in that spot. So I thought that was a great thing. So thank you, everybody that contributed.
Great. Councilmember Yarbrough.
Well, if you weren't out walking early this morning, it only took them a quarter of the time to take it down. So anyway, no, it was a great spot. I had lots of comments from lots of different people on it, so I think we did a really good job there. Other than that, I've got nothing.
Great. I just want to echo all those Christmas tree comments. I had a lot of positive feedback also. I do feel like we should reach out to those businesses and just make sure things went as well as we think they did. But and I attended the employee luncheon, so just really wanted to echo your words, our appreciation for all of our employees who work so hard for the residents. It's a big job and sometimes thankless, and we appreciate all the work you do. All right, with that, we will move on to number 7, the consent calendar. Note, all matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion by roll call vote unless any member of the council wishes to remove any item for discussion. The reading of the full text of all resolutions will be waived unless a council member requests otherwise. Do we have anyone who wants to pull anything from consent calendar? No? Okay. I will open this to public comment for anyone who would like to make a comment on the consent calendar.
Now it's working. I'd like to make a comment on 7.5 and 7.6
Okay.
and give thanks to our engineers because they've done a great job, and so has Doug Veerkamp in working through some of the things that happened to the city when we had the big storms. And so I think, great job.
Thank you, Sue. Anyone else? Okay, we'll bring this back to the council for further discussion or a motion.
I motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Have roll call.
Councilmember Gottberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici.
Aye.
Mayor, no.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, this brings us to number 8, public comment, non-agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. State law prohibits the council from acting on items not listed on the agenda except by special action of the city council under specific circumstances. The mayor reserves the right to limit the speaker's time to 3 minutes. You are not allowed to make personal attacks or on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or may invade an individual's personal privacy. Oral communications. Would anyone like to make a public comment?
Hi, my name's Max Storton. I'm a resident of Placerville. I'm concerned about the what appears to me to be very uneven application of regulations as far as building codes go. I know there's a lot of chatter at the moment about a building on Coloma that has turned into a multi-unit rental. And I complained over the last 3 years extensively and to this council that I had the same problem. I had a multi-unit renovation done without permit and was told that, yes, that's true, we'll get on it, we'll find them, we'll make it go away. Of course, that hasn't happened in 3 years, and it continues. So the other thing that happened, I just have a new neighbor who bought a house on Garden Loop and was told by the city that their sewer leak that had happened was nothing to do with the city, it was their responsibility. They then phoned the county, phoned the health department. The county said, no, 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 that's our responsibility. They sent out a repair crew, repaired it. The health department came and inspected the property. So what it seems to me is that a lot of times the answers, and I've complained about this, you go to City Hall to get clarification on something, and you get the wrong answer, or you get different answers from different people. And so many of us have just sort of given up on going in and complaining. I mean, the time that I did complain, I got a very nasty response from the city. And so I don't know what to say. It seems to me that no one on the council is interested in this. I had a meeting set up at one point with the last mayor. She didn't show up to the meeting. With the city manager and I'm sorry, I don't remember. I don't know what your title is, Pierre. They came to the meeting, they listened to everything I had to say, said that things would get corrected, and one part of it got corrected, which was the installation of a crosswalk, an ADA compliant crosswalk. But the other part of it, which was about this multi-unit renovation that had gone in, they said, yes, we will deal with that. We will find this person. This will not happen. Well, it looks to me like it's going to happen a lot. These large houses will get turned into rooming houses, and then we're debating about historic integrity of the houses. It seems like off kilter to me. And I don't know if there's anyone on the council that is interested in these matters. If there is, I'd love to talk to them. I'm around all the time. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else want to make a public comment?
Sue Rodman, Placerville resident, and my comments were going to be probably 180 degrees from our previous commenter. I've been very proud of the way our city has been running in this last few years, and I've had great respect for the council and for all our staff. They've been very helpful for me, and so I just wanted to say congratulations. I think that the last year was a good year, and I think 2024 should be even better. So thank you all.
Great, thank you. Would anyone else like to make a comment? Seeing none, we will bring it back to the council. Anyone who would like to leave their contact information with the city clerk, I'd be happy to contact them. Thank you. We'll move on to 8.2, written communications. Do we have any written communications?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have no items pulled from the consent calendar. Number 10, ordinances. We'll move on to 10.1, consideration to amend Title 10, zoning ordinance of the Placerville Municipal Code to address required 2021-2029 housing element implementation program C2, accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units to conform with new state regulations. Mr. Rivas.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to begin by stating the purpose. Why is this ordinance before you in the first place? The purpose of this ordinance amendment is to assist the city in providing for additional housing stock and affordability by addressing our 2021-2029 housing element implementation program C-2 in regards to accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units. And this is to further conform with new state regulations. And I'm going to read them off because it's a lot of them, and there's still more coming beyond this ordinance. Senate Bill 13, Senate Bill 897, Assembly Bill 68, 587, 670, 671, and Assembly Bill 881, 3182, 345, and AB 2021. So start with some background. On January 17th of 2023, the Planning Commission considered the draft ordinance as recommended by staff, and after consideration by the Commission recommended approval to the City Council of the ordinance as written at that time. At the hearing, though, the Commission did express concerns regarding exempting ADUs from additional parking requirements that could cause additional parking congestion on substandard roads, which could exacerbate potential safety hazards, impeding emergency access. So on August 8th of 2023, the City Council then considered waiving the second reading of an ADU ordinance. However, the Council raised concerns regarding the Planning Commission's I'm sorry, I got this out of order. On June 27th of 2023, the City Council introduced and waived the first reading of an ordinance amending Title 10 to add this code regarding accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units as recommended by the Planning Commission. So after that, then staff came back to Council for the second reading, and that was on August 8th of 2023. The Council considered waiving the second reading of the ADU ordinance. However, at that time, the Council raised concerns regarding the Planning Commission's and staff's recommendations to require off-street parking in accordance with the city's parking ordinance in those instances where off-site parking is not available due to substandard streets, making on-site parking a potential safety hazard. The Council then directed staff to return to the Council with additional options for consideration. So the staff came back to the Council on October the 10th of last year with three options, and the three options are, I'll just give the basic title of them. One was strict adherence to the state ADU law, meaning we would follow precisely to the matter of what the states required, and that's no additional parking, no replacement of any parking that is lost due to construction of the ADU, such as conversion of a garage or something of that nature. And then the second option was no net loss of parking. No net loss of parking, meaning if the proposed project is on a substandard street and we're not going to require any additional parking for the ADU or the junior ADU for that matter. However, if there was a loss in parking, say conversion of a garage or something, we would require that lost parking be replaced, because in our parking ordinance, every single-family home is required to have 2 parking spaces. And then the third option was require additional parking for an ADU located on some require parking for an ADU located on some standard streets. So after discussion of those three options, the City Council selected option 2, which was no net loss. So no net loss basically means that the city would not require any additional parking for an ADU. However, we would require that any loss of existing parking be replaced if the project is located on a street determined to be substandard. And this determination would be conducted on a case-by-case basis, and it would also involve consultation with both the engineering department and the fire district to ensure safety for the residents on that street. So as shown in the staff report, staff is recommending the language to be added in 2 different sections, section 10-4-4, which is in the parking and loading section of our code. And then we would add to section 10-4-12, that's in the draft ADU, JADU ordinance before you. And it basically reads, accessory dwelling unit, ADU, no additional parking shall be required for an ADU except when located on a street determined to be substandard. Comma, a minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces shall be provided for the primary dwelling. The loss of on-street parking resulting from the conversion of a garage, carport, or loss of parking area shall be replaced to maintain a minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces. And there was some question about that language, and I just want to add that it's very difficult to write this section of the code to pertain to every circumstance that may occur. An example of that is, say, on Columbus Street. I used to live on Columbus Street for about 20 years, and there's a number of houses on Columbus Street that they have no on-site parking, let alone no access to their parcel. So of course, we're not going to require them then to somehow add 2 parking spaces when there's no possibility of doing that. And I think that would apply to our historic districts as well. Some of our historic districts are, they're very old, they've been there since turn of the century, and there may be limited parking. We're not going to require them then to create additional parking because they're trying to utilize an ADU. It's only when we determine that a parking somehow disappeared or there was a loss of parking to construction of the ADU. So with that, staff is recommending that the council introduce, waive the first reading of the tax ordinance, which would amend Title 10 of the Placerville Municipal Code, addressing the required 2021-2029 Housing Element Implementation Program C-2, accessory dwelling units, and junior accessory dwelling units to conform to the new state regulations, and amending the various code sections indicated in the staff report. I don't know if it's necessary for me to read all of those, but I certainly can if the council would like that. But it's under your recommendation there at the top. It's quite lengthy. And basically, it's long because it's basically adding the ADU and junior ADU to each of the residential zones, and then also amending the parking loading zone. Okay. That concludes staff's report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments from the council? No? Nothing? Not at this time? Okay, we will open 10.1 up to public comment.
Actually,
I'll bring it back for a quick sec.
yeah, sorry. I was trying to think of the best way to do this, but I thought maybe now would be a good time to make a comment just because anticipating potentially public comment. I know some of the outreach that I've received on this issue has really been less to do with the actual minimum parking requirements and more to do with one section within there that deals with short-term rentals. And I know we've had lots of discussions about short-term rentals. We've done some work on this, but I know we've said we're going to come back and have a discussion about short-term rentals in residential neighborhoods as well. So one of the things that I'm going to say as we move forward on this is that I'd like to make a separate motion when we do this to have staff bring back to us within 90 days a proposal on short-term rentals in residential areas. And so that we just kind of separate out that issue and kind of focus in on the actual parking, the parking requirements that we have to do and to get in line with state regulations. So that's one thing I just wanted to put out there because I know we may have, and we should still get the comments, but I also wanted to make sure that that was going to be acknowledged as well as we go forward. So thank you.
Yeah, I think when we had talked about the residential short-term rentals, we were going to looking at all of it at once. We were going to look at renting a room, renting an ADU, looking at a whole house, and talk about that all together and not just one item, which is being addressed tonight. So yeah, I think that needs to be a future conversation. It can be properly noticed for everyone in the public to attend and input on, but certainly something we need to address, and we can't keep kicking down the road. All right, with that, I will open 10.1 to the public.
Madam Mayor, I would just like to state for the record that the City Council did receive one item of written communication from Larissa Lujan, copies of which are provided on the back table for the public's review and are also posted to the city's website for this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Zaragoza, for bringing that up because that's why I'm here. I gave you, I don't think you were here at the meeting that I came to a couple months ago, but I did give you guys the ordinance that South Lake Tahoe had put through, and it's worked out great. And I've talked to a lot of people up there that do short-term rentals, and some of the feedback that I have gotten was, and points that I've kind of brought up too, is that not only do the short-term rentals provide opportunities for people that clean houses, you know, of course, up in Tahoe, snow shoveling. Down here, it could be other yard maintenance, things like that. So it does provide jobs. But there are also places up in Tahoe that are hosted units that owners actually hire someone to live on in the home and rent out or help facilitate the rental. So not only are they providing a job, they're providing a home. So I know that this coming after people like me that do short-term rentals, first it was because we needed housing. Well, I'm on the cusp. Just because I own a house doesn't make me rich, okay? Contrary to what people, just because I rent through Airbnb doesn't make me rich, right? You guys still all make a lot more money than I do. But when you take that away from me, you're putting me in the category of the people that need housing and need work and good jobs. You're taking me from this fine line and you're putting me in the category of the people that you always pretend you're trying to protect, right? So ordinance like these, people who have money, it doesn't affect them, right? It affects people like me. Always. So the short-term rental ban in Tahoe didn't do much. It opened up about 10%. A lot of those people still opted to do 30-day rentals or seasonal rentals, right? So it didn't have the opening up of short or long-term rentals that everyone thought would happen. But it did hurt people like me, right? And other people that have cleaning businesses and other services. It hurt us. So now the city of South Lake Tahoe, since they weren't able to have any success banning short-term rentals, now they want to do a vacancy tax. So we cannot tax and regulate our way into more housing. It's not going to happen. And in turn, you're affecting people like me. If I lose my ability to rent my Airbnb right now, especially considering the cost of everything, you're going to put me in that category where I'm the people that you now want to help, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Am I making sense? Anybody?
Yes, thank you, Mandy.
Good evening and Happy New Year, Mayor and City Council. Ryan Carter. Just a couple of quick, one question and one comment. My question is regarding the bungalow courts. If we could get some more clarification. In the definition, it states that it's a group of 3 or more detached 1 or 2-story, one-family dwellings located on a single lot. And that's going to be allowed by right on every residential zoning except for R1. Is there a limit to the number of houses that can be placed on the lot? If I could just get some more clarity on the bungalow courts. I think we've asked this question before, but it's still kind of murky. My second comment would be just in light of Councilmember Zaragoza's comment regarding the short-term rentals. I would highly recommend that you guys consider on page 8 of the proposed ordinance, item T, just eliminate the wording that says that vacation or short-term rentals are prohibited. If you're going to visit this item in a separate ordinance or a separate set of rules, let's not out of hand eliminate the possibility before you even address that in a separate ordinance. So eliminate that item T on page 8 that prohibits AD or short-term rentals and ADUs. So anyway, those are my 2 comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Excuse me, my name is Larissa Lujan. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Zaragoza and Jackie No for your comments, because it does make me feel like my letter was acknowledged and heard for this particular item today. I did want to mention, I know you guys stated that we're hoping to bring this back to council, and we kind of wanted to focus on the amending this ordinance in order to conform with new state regulations. However, every action has a reaction. I do agree with the previous gentleman who asked that item T be eliminated from this ordinance, which does say vacation or short-term rentals are prohibited in all ADUs. I researched this issue thoroughly in Sacramento County. Sacramento County does allow their ADUs that were permitted prior to January 1st, 2020 to be rented for less than 30 days. So there is a state law that does make an allowance for it because our state capital is already doing this. So I would also be very discouraged to see that language remain in this ordinance because this is going to be one more hurdle that we're going to have to overcome if we try to reapproach this in 90 days. The other issue I wanted to bring to your attention, which was outlined in my letter, was the language of the consequences if people don't follow this ordinance. The fact that under X, the penalties, every person violating any of the provisions of this section shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. So my concern is that we are now criminalizing our citizens when Sacramento County will give you a permit for it. It went on to say that the person may be confined in the county jail for a period of not to exceed 6 months or both. It was also up to a $1,000 fine. So there are real crimes going on nationwide. I would really like to see us not criminalize our property owners. Back in the day, I thought people would just put liens on your properties, and now we want to throw people in jail. So I would like to know if this is part of the ordinance that is required to conform with new state regulations, or did City of Placerville go above and beyond to add this language in here? So that's my concern with how this is written, are those two key points. Mr. Rivas made the comment earlier that he is asking the commission adjust some of the language of this ordinance. I, as a member of the public, am also asking you to adjust some of the language of this ordinance so it benefits our city as a whole, and it's one less hurdle for us to overcome in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Larissa. Do we have any more comments? Seeing none, we will bring this back to the council. Would staff like to comment on, answer a couple of those questions? The bungalow question.
Yeah, the bungalow is just a design, basically. It's sort of a bungalow court. There's a lot of those in some larger cities with older part of towns where you have a number of units that can be attached or detached, but they're served by a common courtyard. It's just a design that's become very popular. We've been working with Housing El Dorado, and that was something that they brought to our attention as something we just wanted to add rather than exclude it. So it's something we added that as a housing type, and we put it in the definition. So again, it's not that this ordinance is really geared towards bungalow courts. It's mainly, this is an ADU ordinance, but we did have that section where we were amending some of the definitions in the zoning ordinance, and that was one. We just wanted to add that in since we were receiving some interest in bungalow courts. But I think Ryan Carter's question too had to do with how many. It would be based on the particular residential zone district and the number of units allowed in that district. If it's multifamily, then you can have, of quite a few units, where as opposed to a single family, really all you would have is just a single family unit. You could have an ADU, you can have an accessory dwelling unit.
Great, thank you. We have, there was a question if you added language. I thought that we didn't really add the language. Why are you looking at me funny?
No, what you're asking, what you were going with. Continue.
Regarding the criminal language, asking if staff added that.
There are certain sections in the city ordinance that are defined as a misdemeanor, and some sections, some violations of the code are an infraction. So that's what was put in there. I'd have to go back and really research where we got that language from.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to think. If this is strictly like, I'm trying to think. So it would be like if you didn't comply with parking. Well, we're not going to send anybody to jail for not not adhering to parking. So I'm wondering if if we couldn't just switch that out to some kind of fine. I mean, we're never going to send someone to jail for parking for
Well, that's true.
misallocating a parking
This
space.
is parking.
This is just parking.
This is just parking.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, because it's not the whole, like, if you, I don't know.
When we write them a ticket.
No, this is the entire ordinance.
This is the, oh, this is, now, this is.
Entire
This would be the
ordinance.
whole-
So if someone were to, do something that's in violation of this, try to build an ADU without.
Without
permits,
any
et cetera,
permits,
then yeah,
okay.
it would be, that's when that applies.
Okay.
It's not just the provision of the parking that's in here, it's the entire ordinance.
Is this Abbey normal?
I think if, and I'll look at Pierre, I would have to go back and check, but I think if you look at many of our code sections in the zoning code, there could be several of those that are
Okay.
misdemeanors as opposed to infractions. I'm guessing.
We still probably wouldn't send someone to jail, though, for building I guess if they built, like, some Taj Mahal in the middle of, I don't know, but,
It's going to be very rare, but there could be, if somebody just is determined they're not going to abide by the law and continue to fight.
right, if they were just complete
Yeah.
jerks about stuff.
Normally, when this happens in the past, we were able to work with them and get corrections done and prior to having to go to that length, but.
Would this still allow us to lien the property and do all, I would assume that's in some different code areas to have those types of levers for us to use on remedies?
For the failure to pay fees and
Well, like, or if you built something illegally or were found to have,
well, you could put a notice of noncompliance on that, which is very common that we do at times, correct, Pierre?
Yes, we typically would place a notice of noncompliance on the property, and that essentially clouds the title. So it provides notice that we're not going to issue any permit or allow any further construction or activities on the property until the issue is abated. And then we would continue to fine the person. But we do have a situation where sometimes we just continue to fine and still nothing
remedy.
seems to happen. So another option the city always has is we can actually direct that the city attorney then take an action in court, and we can get an injunction against the property owner. That's another option besides the jail. But there are, typically in our code, if you look under, Chapter 4, I think it is, or Title 4, where it has a lot of the administrative and civil penalties. So that's more criminal than civil. So civil is where we typically fine the person, put the liens on the property, where criminal, meaning they're doing something more criminal, and then that's where you can fine them, or city would take them to the court, and then we could levy a jail sentence.
Okay. Councilmember Yarborough?
Yeah, do we, this section, it's, remember X, page 9, section X, where it says penalty, every person violating any of the provisions. Is there somewhere in here that we can point to that specific ordinance or section that describes those penalties?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay. I recommend we do that. That will help a little bit with people reading through this, and then they can reference back and see what is really going on.
Good suggestion. Mona? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
just to provide a little bit of context as to difference between misdemeanor and infraction. So Government Code Section 36,900 presumes that a violation of any ordinance is declared to be a misdemeanor unless the legislative body declares it to be an infraction, right? So everything is a misdemeanor unless we decide it's an infraction. Why is that important? Because if it's an infraction, we are limited to the financial penalties that we impose, not more than $500 per day per penalty. If it's a misdemeanor, we can go beyond that. Furthermore, there's significant additional penalties for someone who's not complying, who may have deep pockets and is not persuaded by the fines. It's within your discretion to determine whether you want to do it, but just to provide some context. Final point is that any violation of a municipal code section that is declared to be a public nuisance pursuant to Chapter 1-4 under the existing code is also declared to be a misdemeanor. So there's multiple different avenues that everything that's within our code gets to kind of be a misdemeanor, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to be prosecuted as one.
Thank you. Appreciate that clarification.
And who makes that decision?
In my 18 and a half years of experience of doing this, I have not seen any prosecutor willing to prosecute municipal violations such as this unless the city says, we will pay you to do this for us, or unless you would all deputize me to do that. But it's just not something that I have seen done.
Okay, yeah, actually, my part was, I think what I was trying to get at is who makes the decision whether they're going after an infraction or a misdemeanor?
So it would be subject to, for example, if we were going to, if this is declared, let's say we have someone who's violating the ADU ordinance because of parking restrictions, and we go through the notice to abate process and we say, you're violating this, they're still not listening, it goes to a hearing officer, they appeal it, at some point it may come before you all and you can decide the severest or moderate or minor penalty that you wish to impose.
Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion?
Yeah, just the one comment about section T, vacation or short-term rental. Vacation or short-term rental is prohibited in all ADUs. ADUs shall not be rented for a period of less than 31 days. I know everybody wants that to be taken out until we come back to a decision. The only concern I have with even thinking about doing that is if we take it out and then we come back and we do a decision and that section comes out and all of a sudden everybody's renting their ADUs out. Now all of a sudden they say, well, wait a minute, you said we could, now we can't. So I think until we can get the STRs all figured out, unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to leave that in there until we can amend that section if we decide to do that.
And I'd also like to know if leaving it in there actually prohibits us from doing anything on the short-term rental front.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
I get the impression that answer is no, that would be a separate issue.
Yeah, Mayor, if I could comment on that. Basically, this ordinance is addressing accessory dwelling units and addressing junior accessory dwelling units, not short-term rentals. If the council recalls, we came to you with a short-term rental ordinance, and we granted the ability to do short-term rentals in certain commercial zones. Residential zones were excluded. So when we come back to revisit that ordinance and look at possibly adding it to residential, just the same as we did here, we did all those amendments to the parking loading section and each of the individual residential zone districts to be consistent with this ordinance, we would do the same. So whatever changes you make to the short-term rental ordinance to allow more of them, then we would go through the code and make whatever amendments that would be required to provide consistency with that ordinance. So I guess the bottom line is I'm saying, no, you don't take that section out because it's not going to change anything. They're currently not allowed in residential zones, period, in the city.
Okay, so there's a separate ordinance for that, obviously.
Separate ordinance for that,
Okay.
not this ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
So just kind of another comment on, I'm totally fine with this ordinance as is and moving forward with it at this point. I think we've discussed it. We compromised. I wasn't happy about the parking, but I'm going forward with it. But we do have a bed and breakfast ordinance that allows for owner-occupied short-term vacation rentals in residential zones currently. So I think any discussion of, I mean, I did request a future agenda item to look at that ordinance, particularly there's a historical significance provision, which makes it more limiting to utilize that. So that was a previous request for a future agenda item, and I think any discussion of short-term vacation rentals in residential zones need to consider our existing bed and breakfast ordinance, because we certainly would not want conflicting ordinances. So that's just another comment on that front.
Great. Okay. Further comments, discussions, motions?
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
A friendly amendment. I will withdraw my motion. Go.
No, I was gonna go back to my what I said originally at the beginning of this, which is, so I like to make two motions. I like to make a motion, and city attorney, let me know if I'm in error here, but I'd like to make two motions. First motion is to approve the ordinance as presented by staff. Second motion is to bring back a STR ordinance within 90 days for the city council to consider. Based on,
So yes, under the first one, introduce and waiving, since we're not adopting the ordinance, but moving staff's recommendation. And for the second one, also correct, just as a reminder, it will have to go to the planning commission first.
yes,
So within the 90 days, it will go to them and then.
to us. Understood.
Clarify, do you want it back to you within 90 days or to planning
The
commission?
planning commission.
Within 90
Planning,
days.
within 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion, amendments?
Do we take separate votes on those, or?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's.
Oh, that's right. So those are my two motions. Do I have any?
I will second both motions.
Okay, there's a first and a second. We will do separate recalls. The first motion is to approve 10.1 as staff recommended.
And waive the, yeah.
Roll call.
Councilmember Gottberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici.
Aye.
Mayor No.
Aye. Okay, our second motion is to bring back the short-term rentals to the Planning Commission within 90 days. Roll call.
Councilmember Gottberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici.
Aye.
Mayor No.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Great. Thank you.
that finishes ordinances. We have no public hearings, and that brings us to item 12, discussion and action items. Start with 12.1, consider approving the purchase of 34 new banners from Sierra Display in the amount of $4,538.90 for Main Street, a funding agreement with the El Dorado Community Foundation, and a budget appropriation for said banners. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good to be back here with this one. I hope and think that we've reached agreement on what will work and something that will be really nice for our downtown area. So as you recall, this has come before you a couple of times before. Last time we presented some of the banners, and Mr. Warren, if you want to put that up anytime you can, the pictures of the banners that are being proposed now. When we brought them back, you liked what we did, but requested some additional banners be used. So originally we had, I think, 4 or 5 banners. Now we're up to 6. And Dave, if you want to run through those, yeah. So you can see the last one is, leave it there for a minute, to commemorate the Native Americans from the area, the baskets. We have the wheelbarrow for what it's famous for here.
Because we always do.
And then the one on the left here that you see is to commemorate our trail system, bike and walking trails throughout that go through the city. Wagon train, stagecoach, et cetera, on that one. We have the one on the left here is just a general one, a welcome to, commemorating our, showing the bell tower in our downtown. On the right, we have the wine industry is going strong in our area, and there's several new wine tasting businesses that have opened up on Main Street. And then we have the Snowshoe Thompson, and then the famous Miner that has been known for. So those are the banners that would be used. As noted in the packet, would be 6 of the welcome banners and 4 of each of the others, to get our total of 34, which is normally what we have put out throughout town. Again, you'll notice on the bottom of the banner, it recognizes the El Dorado Community Foundation, who has previously agreed to fund the banners for the total amount that is listed in here, $4,538. $2.90. What we would do, what we're asking for tonight is for you to allow me to negotiate an agreement to get that funding from them, and then we'll proceed with getting these made immediately. We also ask you to allocate the funding because we will pay for them and then get reimbursed through the El Dorado Community Foundation. I think it's a good program. It would be nice to get those going. It's about a 3-week time frame. Once we order those, we'll order those immediately tomorrow. And because our goal is, you notice we still have our holiday banners up to save time and money. We're leaving those up until we get the new banners, and we can put those up at the same time. So we should have those, like I say, 3 weeks, close to the end of January, 1st of February. Hopefully we'll be able to put those up. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Great. Any questions from council?
I have an idea for 2 more banners. I'm just kidding. No, I think these are great. So thank you, everybody, for working on these. I just want to say I think they all look terrific, and I'm excited to see them go up. So thank you.
Okay, we'll open this to public comment.
I have a question on whether these will be permanently installed or whether we will still do the hand-painted banners that seem to be a program that goes on that seems quite wonderful to me. So I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you. Any other comments on 12.1?
Sue Rodman, good job, you guys. I like them.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Seeing none, we'll bring it back. We'll get that question answered from staff regarding the banners.
Yes, we asked you a couple of times. Obviously, the one you mentioned when we do the banners on parade, we don't do them, but the group that does those that will continue. When those go up, these will come down in order for those to come up, and then our holiday banners will continue to go up during the holiday season. So,
Thank you. Okay. Any more discussion or a motion?
I move with staff recommendation for 12.1.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gottberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici.
Aye.
Mayor No.
Aye. Okay, passes. We'll move to 12.2. Consider adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with El Dorado County to transfer city opioid settlement funds to El Dorado County to be used to address opioid addiction programs in the county, including the city of Placerville. Mr. Morris.
thank you, Mayor and Council. This item, back in December of 2021, we actually brought this to the council and recommended that we look at accepting the funds. We had the opportunity at that time to transfer them to the county. I think we had dreams that we were going to get all these funds that we would be able to do some good things with, and working with other organizations to do them. The funds come in basically from at least 3 different settlement companies that agreed to the settlement. There's there's reporting for each one separately, so they come in pieces. And there are other requirements, restrictions, et cetera. As we looked into it further, we did contact a one-time Marshall Hospital to see if there might be an opportunity there simply to enhance their programs. That didn't work out. We had some conversations, but again, I think it was the amount that the funding was coming in those small amounts. If you look at it on a whole, you think, wow, that's a lot of money. Over 18 years, it's $500,000, so it's a decent amount. But it does trickle in over time, and in fact, it's been hard for us to even determine when the money was going to come and what we were going to get. It would just show up. So the county also gets this funding, and they have programs already in place, and they would be able to enhance those programs and do more. One of the things they've talked about is working, for example, in the navigation center that houses our homeless, to work with those that have opioid addictions there, and enhance those programs and offer more resources to them, but also reaching out to others also that may have that need. So our recommendation tonight is that we change what we did previously and go back and transfer our funding to the county to be used in conjunction with their programs that they would offer towards this. And they would be responsible for all of the reporting at that point and et cetera. We did request in this that we do an agreement with them that allows us to have some input on what the programs are. We want to make sure that they are looking at inside the city limits and things going on here also, which some of those, for example, the navigation center is in our city limits. The term of the agreement, et cetera, making sure that they're responsible for all the accounting and reporting, and that they agree to use the funds in accordance with the settlement agreements. And if, they get audited or questioned by the state, that they would be responsible for answering to that. So pretty much turning it all over to them and have them have that responsibility. So that's our request. I'm happy either myself or Mr. Warren or Ms. Ibrahimi can answer any questions you might have on that.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, we will open this to public comment.
Sue Rodman, this is the only way that makes sense to me. The county already has a program. They're already doing it. By the time we got these small amounts trickling in, they would probably get used up just setting up their program and trying to get something to happen where we can make a small contribution to something that's already going on and make it more effective. So I think that this is a good, common sense way to do it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Good evening, Ryan Carter. In light of the city having some control over how this money is spent, it would be nice if there was some kind of mechanism for the city to report to the citizens how the money is being spent, particularly which programs we're contributing to in the county. I don't know how that works, but there's zero information in the staff report on what particularly this county is doing, and it's very open in the settlement description for what the money can be used for. So any kind of daylighting to the public on how this money would be spent would be really appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council.
I just want to mention in response a little bit to that, the actual full settlement agreements are very detailed and split, in what has to be done, what they can be used for. And so, there are quite a few things listed, but they're pretty detailed in what can be done. So,
I was assuming we can do like maybe, I don't know has any of the funds actually come in yet?
yeah.
Some have.
We have in our possession about, 64,000, Dave?
43,000.
43, okay.
And some change, yeah.
I'm wondering, maybe like a yearly, here's what's going on from the county with these funds. It could be just a informational item.
We can definitely add that to the agreement that they provide us a report annually.
Yeah, as part of the settlement agreement terms, the agency that receives the funds also has to do annual auditing. So we're proposing to include that in the settlement agreement or in the agreement with the county, at which point we can also request a report.
Copy of the report. Yeah,
Hey, I will say, I actually worked on this item a little bit from my day job. I do think there is some, it doesn't matter because we were not really set up to do it, but there is some sort of, there's items that they fall under, but I think there's a lot of discretion within those items for people doing it. Because really, you're talking about probably some deputy AG at the state level that's probably going to get a report, tons of reports that, unless something is really out of whack, it's just not likely that they're going to be doing a lot of, unless people used it just completely wrong, the funding, that there's going to be a lot of, people looking deeply into how this funding is. The people that settled the cases just wanted them settled so that they could move on with their business. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think this is a really good move for us to do, and hopefully they'll be used in the right way.
Okay, any more discussion on 12.2? Do you have a motion?
I'll move the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Gottberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Zaragoza,
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici.
Aye.
Mayor No.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item 13, council reports from other agency meetings. First one is El Dorado Transit, and we did not have a meeting. Second one was the Transportation Commission.
We did not have a meeting.
Third one is
We did not have a meeting.
SACOG,
We meet next week.
Pioneer.
We meet in 2 weeks.
Okay, Placerville Fire Safe Council. We met.
Yay.
Yeah. Two things they're working on. They want to help seniors and low-income folks with home hardening, specifically fire and ember-resistant vents. So if you know people who might benefit from that, please contact the Fire Safe Council. And the other thing is the El Dorado Resource Conservation District has an RFP out for the City of Placerville Community Wildfire Resilience Strategy. And Mark Egbert is the contact for that, if you know anyone who wants to put in a proposal. That brings us to Opportunity Knox.
We will be having our next meeting on February 2nd, and we will be doing our election appointments to board seats at that meeting. So the following list are the board seats up for election. Domestic Violence Agency, Mental Health Provider, Affordable Housing Developer Property Manager, Homeless, formerly homeless representative, Family, Children, Youth Provider, representative of an organization led by and serving Black, Brown, Indigenous, and other people of color, LGBTQ advocate, and then transitional age youth. So if you meet any of those categories and would like to serve on the EDOK board, please submit your applications by January 26th.
Nicole, do they have any applications? That's a
I hope so, because we seem to have a problem filling our board seats.
Yes.
So, definitely, there's a lot of board seats on this board and a lot of specific categories. So if you fall under any of those and are interested in, homelessness in our county, it would be great to apply. And then the other thing is that we are looking for point-in-time count volunteers currently. So that is the other item. If you are interested in participating in the time count, you can get information and volunteer to do that on the EDOK website.
When is that happening?
It's like the end of January. It's a separate email than the one I just had
That's
open.
fine. The end of January is
It's
close enough.
coming up.
It's coming up
Act
soon.
fast.
They are actively looking for volunteers right now. And I
when-
think the Western Slip's going to be on a Thursday morning between like 6:30 and 8:30 a.m. But I don't remember the date of which Thursday in
It's okay.
January.
The end of the month.
Yes, probably, yeah.
I have a question about the fire safe stuff.
Yes.
When is the March hoopty? It's a Saturday, and I didn't put it in my thing.
All right, hold on. I will get you that information.
23rd?
There you
Of
go.
course.
23rd.
It was the 23rd from the audience, thank you.
Okay. Great.
I
We
can
will-
watch my house burn down again on these simulations. Yeah. I think Nicole and I both.
I know, we both-
we didn't survive any scenario.
Yeah, every scenario me and
Okay.
Zaragoza's
We're
house burned
selling
down.
that event.
Your houses are like kindling.
Okay, we will open 13 council reports to public comment. Seeing none, we will bring it back. Move to 14, requests for future agenda items. Do we have any requests? Seeing none, we will move to number 15, city manager and staff reports. 15.1, receive and file December 2023 police report. Chief Wren.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you, and Happy New Year to everybody. So included in your packet tonight was a statistic printout from our RIMS system. As you're aware, we went live with RIMS in November, midway through November, after all the training in the system and the switch was flipped. So December really was our full month of where we collected all of our data. Now, what you have before you is a fraction of the amount of statistics that are available to us through the system. There are over 70 different categories of statistics. So I made the mistake of asking for a printout of our stats, and I was handed a pile that looked like the Webster Dictionary. So I gleaned through it and pulled out some of these, but going forward, we're going to be a little bit more strategic in what we print for the monthly reports. I do want to highlight that our Citizen RIMS, which is the interactive dashboard for the public, went live today, and I can bring that up for you. That's what it looks like. So your legend on the right shows the different categories of crimes with a little flag, and on that flag is a number. You could decide that you don't want all of this and just narrow down your search, but to be perfectly honest, we live in a wonderful community that's very low crime, so if you were to just focus on one area, say arson, nothing would populate in there, so. Yeah, because we have a fantastic fire department that's on top of it. You'll see there's a lot of categories. We can add more. We're kind of, we're playing with the idea of what more to place into here out of the spirit of full transparency. That's one of the things that I believe that the community needs to see what we do. I think it helps answer a lot of the question and dispels a lot of the rumors that often circulate. So if you click on, let's see, this one is larceny. It'll bring up a little snapshot of what that call was. 9, our frequent flying items are always going to be traffic or narcotic related. That's why you see a lot of the 9s. Those are actually arrests made by officers. So if you get really bored late at night and there's nothing on TV, you can bring this up and then go over to, 3100 block of Center Street, go to the far left tab, hit arrests,
Isn't that City Hall?
and it'll bring it up who was not doing what they were supposed to be doing during that date and time when they crossed paths with one of our officers. So this is your arrest log for that date indicated.
Are our pretty pie charts coming back?
Yeah, well, I can do. I don't know how to do it, but I know it can be done.
I was just saying it was easier to read
Yeah.
in the previous reports. And I
Everybody
don't want
likes
Chief Cordera to
pictures
have
and
anything
colors.
up on you.
So your different categories on the left will open up another window identifying what we're looking for. We have no stolen vehicles currently in the system. You saw our arrests. No bulletins, no press releases, vacation home check. If you're going to be gone, takes 2 seconds to fill this out, submit it to us, and it automatically populates into our CAD RMS system as a scheduled call for officers. So it's nothing that they have to be reminded about. The system reminds them on a span of time in which we indicate we want officers checking the area. Same with directed patrol. If somebody has a concern or an issue that they want to see a little bit more police attention and they don't want to call and talk to me, they can always fill this out and submit it as well. Our security camera registration, this is a voluntary program that we ask citizens if they do have some sort of CCTV system at their residence to fill this out. It lets us know if something does happen in one of these areas that we can go to them. It'll populate in our system. It'll allow us to go to them and talk to them about any potential video footage. And about just takes us to our main page, which this Citizen RIMS, we'll do a hyperlink here so people don't have to find it. We'll try to get it out tomorrow. But if you come to here, you go over to City Police Stats, Weekly Crime Logs, and this is for a week. This will show you everything that our officers have done during that entire span of time, during that week. From extra patrol, where they were at, what they were doing, suspicious persons.
Sounds like we're adding one.
That never happens. So, it just, out of a sense of just being completely open with the public, what we do, it shows how busy our officers are. I know everybody always hears it from me, how busy we are. This is a direct example of just how busy they are. They don't, they're not sitting in their car listening to the music. They're actually out there in the community, and when they're not at a call, they're conducting extra patrols in different areas. You see a lot of these extra patrols, and a lot of them are done early in the morning hours if you see them. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any. This system, as we start to go and learn a little bit more about it, obviously the stats are going to change to the pie charts and all that stuff. In speaking with the RIMS representative, she said it was easy to do. Apparently, she had no idea who she was talking to. Computers. So it's easy to do for my staff. They know how to bring that information up. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Questions from council?
I guess the only question would be how we sort of get it out to the public to let them know about this. What our plan is for that.
Get it out on our city Facebook page and our
Yep.
website, and push it out.
Yeah, we could do a social media push on it, and then also in the city bills, if we want to do that. We'll see. We'll start to push it pretty hard, though. You'll start to see it on the social, and just do word of mouth, because everybody wants to know what's going on and what we're doing. One good thing about the system that I neglected to mention was for myself and the commanders, we can see what times of day our officers are most busy, or when the calls are coming in, the duration of the calls. So that's allowing us right now to take a hard look at how we're deploying our personnel, because, the police, we like everything just square and always in order, so our shifts always are the same. Well, would it make more sense to have 2 officers at one time and then a 3rd officer come in 5 hours later? Because now that's your peak time when you're more likely to experience an increase in calls for service. So it's allowing us to use evidence or data to better deploy our resources to tackle some of the things that are oftentimes pop up like a mushroom, and we need to go pick it. So,
Great, thank you.
I have will we have a button on our homepage or something like that for this thing
yeah,
eventually?
I'll do a link or
A
whatever.
link?
You call it. Yes.
I call it a button, but a link.
It'll be called the Clarici button for now.
There you go.
But yeah, we'll get that tomorrow. Like I said, this system just went live today for us.
I would proudly have my name on that button.
You got it. So yeah, it's cool. We'll push out, and as much as information people want from us regarding this system, we're proud of it. We'll be happy to explain it and to show it off.
Great. Anybody else? No? Open this to public comment? Nobody? Okay, we will move on to 12.2. Receive and file the December Fire Station 25 run report. Chief Cordero.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening. Sorry, I'm not sure how to follow that. Kudos to Chief Wren and his staff. That's amazing. I'm going to have to get on the horn with our RMS provider and say, hey, can we get a little something better? Because look at that's just great information for the community. Within your packet, though, you will see the stats for Station 25. They had a little bit of a reprieve during the month of November. Things kind of countywide slowed down. But then they paid for it in December, so it picked right back up, and it was very busy for our crews across the county. So call volume's been high. We've experienced almost a couple of times a week now where there's no ambulances available in the county, just with the call volume that's going on. But all the stats are in there, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wow, thank you. Any questions from council? No? We'll open it for public comment. Seeing none, we will move to 12.3, development.
Mayor? Can I mention, I think you know this, but I think we can mention to the public, or if you want to make that announcement, Tim, you probably know what I'm talking about.
I did overlook that reminder there, Cleve. We did, as we've been working with Rebecca Neves and our partners at PD for the Public Safety Building, we got a random check in the mail last week. Just came through normal postal service. We didn't have to sign for anything, and there was a lot of zeros. So we're
Very exciting.
happy. Spoke with the senator.
Yes.
Would that be the picture on the front of the report where you guys holding the check up?
That was a ceremonial one. I took that to the ATM machine, but there was no way to.
And no way to
Put it in
deposit
there?
it.
Okay.
It just doesn't fit.
So the check did come, so for the Public Safety Building, we're really kind of able to hit the ground running on that now, so we're really excited about that.
Well, that's great news. We can start moving forward with that. Okay, 12.3, Development Services Department, Development Permitting Statistics for the month of December 2023. Mr. Rivas.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I don't have anything really to add other than just this is a comparison from December 2023 with December of 2022. A little bit slower, but still quite busy. Still a lot of activity. Really good valuation that came in. So happy to answer any questions you have on our stats.
Great, thank you. Any questions from council? No? Open it to public comment? None? We'll bring it back. Number 16 is upcoming items. We will let you read those. Move to 17, adjournment at 6:21. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right.